The stars stretched endlessly before him, cold and silent. Commander Ryan Holt, captain of the Earth vessel Starlands, had always loved that view. The deep black sea of space scattered with distant suns. But this time the stars were fading. Smoke filled the cockpit. Warning lights blinked red across every control panel. The ship's engines had failed after a sudden burst of cosmic radiation. He had no choice but to crash land on the nearest planet. "Computer, activate emergency landing protocol," he shouted. The screen flickered. Error. Power core unstable. Ryan cursed under his breath. He could already feel the tremors through the hull as gravity pulled the ship downward. The planet below was glowing with a strange light, a green and blue sphere surrounded by shimmering clouds. It was beautiful but deadly. The ship hit the upper atmosphere like a meteor. Flames danced outside the windows. Ryan strapped himself into the pilot seat, trying to control the descent. "Come on, stay together, girl," he muttered to the ship as if it could hear him. Then came the crash. Metal screamed. The world turned upside down. Everything went dark. When Ryan opened his eyes, the world around him was glowing softly. The air smelled sweet, almost floral. The sky was not black or blue, but filled with swirling ribbons of color, green, violet, and silver. The ground beneath him was covered with grass that shimmered faintly under the twin moons above. He sat up, groaning. His uniform was torn, but he was alive. Somehow, the emergency systems had protected him. "Computer?" he called weakly. Only silence answered. The ship lay half buried in the soft soil, smoke rising from its rear engines. He checked his scanner. Oxygen levels were normal, gravity stable, temperature perfect for humans. "At least I won't freeze or suffocate," he muttered. Small victories. He looked around. The planet seemed untouched. No cities, no signs of machines. Only forests of crystal-like trees that caught the moonlight and reflected it like mirrors. Everything looked calm. Too calm. Ryan reached for his sidearm, a simple plasma pistol, and began walking toward a hill that overlooked the crash site. He needed higher ground to send a distress signal. As he walked, something flickered at the edge of his vision. A shadow, tall and slender, that moved between the trees. He froze. "Hello?" he called out. No response. He aimed his light toward the sound. The beam caught something shining. Silver skin, smooth and reflective like liquid metal. Then a voice echoed inside his mind. "Do not be afraid, traveler of stars." Ryan's heart skipped. The voice was not spoken aloud. It was inside his head, soft and melodic. "Who's there?" he demanded, turning slowly. From behind a tall crystal tree, a figure emerged. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her body was slender and graceful, her long hair glowing faintly like threads of light. Her eyes were bright gold and her expression calm yet powerful. She wore an elegant armor made of translucent crystal that seemed to move like living glass. "I am Varela, Princess of the Sereth Dominion," she said, though her lips didn't move. The words formed directly in his mind. "You stand upon Sereth Prime." Ryan blinked. "Sereth Prime? That's not on any chart." Her golden eyes narrowed slightly. "Of course not. No human has ever set foot here. Until now." She stepped closer. The air around her shimmered, bending the light. Ryan took a step back instinctively, raising his weapon. "Stay back," he warned. "I don't want to fight." Varela tilted her head, curious. "Fight? You misunderstand, human. I do not wish to harm you. But I require contact." Ryan frowned. "Contact?" She extended her hand toward him. The air between them rippled with blue light. "Do not just stare," she said firmly, her tone commanding yet strangely gentle. "Touch me, human." I commanded. Ryan's eyes widened. "Excuse me?" Her voice echoed again, stronger now. "Touch my hand, quickly." He hesitated. The scanners on his wrist beeped. Massive energy readings were coming from her body. "You're radiating enough power to fry a starship circuit," he said nervously. "If I touch you, I might die?" She finished for him. Her golden eyes softened. "Perhaps. Or perhaps not. The bond must be tested. My world is in danger and the answer lies within your touch." Ryan blinked, unsure whether she was serious. "Your world is in danger?" "Yes," she said. "The Sereth Dominion faces a shadow called the Null Tide. They devour entire worlds. My people are trying to hold them back, but we are losing. I felt a spark when your ship entered our skies and a resonance. I followed it, and it led me to you." She stepped closer. The air around her felt warm, humming with strange energy. You are not like the others I have seen across the void. You may hold the key to saving us. Ryan lowered his weapon slowly. Her voice was calm, almost soothing. But still, he couldn't help feeling nervous. Princess, I don't even know what you're talking about. I just crashed here. Then fate has guided you, she said. Now give me your hand. He hesitated again. His instincts screamed to stay back. Yet something in her eyes, sincerity, maybe desperation, made him pause. What happens if I do? Then we will see whether humanity's spark is truly different from all others, she said softly. Ryan took a deep breath. All right, but if this kills me, I'm going to be very disappointed. Virella smiled faintly, an almost human expression. Understood. Slowly, Ryan removed his glove and extended his hand. Her silver skin glowed brighter as his fingers neared hers. The air hummed like a living current. For a moment, his hand hovered inches from hers. He could feel warmth radiating from her palm like sunlight on his skin. Then our contact. The world exploded in light. Images flooded his mind. Stars dying, planets burning, cities made of crystal towers shattering under waves of dark energy. He saw the faces of the Cerathian people, proud and noble, fading into dust. He saw Virella standing against the storm, her hands raised as if holding back the darkness itself. Then the visions changed. He saw Earth, his home, blue and full of life. He saw humans laughing, building, dreaming, and in that instant he felt something connect. Two worlds touching across the endless void. Ryan gasped and pulled back. The light faded. He was still alive. His hand tingled, but he felt stronger. Virella stared at him, her golden eyes wide with surprise. Impossible, she whispered. No being has ever survived the bond. You did not burn. Ryan took a shaky breath. I guess humans are tougher than we look. A slow smile spread across her face. Perhaps the stories about your kind are true then. The humans, the stubborn flame that never dies. She looked up at the twin moons and then back at him. Commander Ryan Holt of Earth, you are now bound to the Serath Dominion. Together we may yet survive what is coming. Ryan blinked. Bound? Wait, what does that mean? You will learn soon enough, she said, her voice soft but filled with mystery. For now, rest. Tomorrow the stars will call upon us both. As she turned away, Ryan looked at his hand. It still glowed faintly with silver light. He didn't know what had just happened. But one thing was certain. His life, and maybe all of humanity, had just changed forever, and somewhere above them, in the silent void of space, something vast and dark stirred, the null tide, drawing closer with every passing hour. Ryan Holt woke up to the soft sound of wind whispering through crystal trees. The light of the twin suns spilled across the alien sky, painting everything in shades of gold and silver. For a moment he thought he was dreaming, but when he looked at his hand, the faint silver glow still lingered on his skin. Last night had been real. The touch, the light, the bond, and the alien princess. He sat up and looked around. The ground shimmered faintly, covered in soft moss that felt almost warm beneath his boots. His ship still lay half buried in the soil, smoke rising from its broken hull. Nearby, a few pieces of equipment blinked weakly. The distress beacon, his scanner, and a cracked communicator. Ryan sighed. Still stranded, he muttered. But at least I'm not alone this time. As if answering his thought, a figure appeared at the edge of the clearing. Princess Virella, radiant and calm, stepped forward. She looked different in the sunlight, more alive, her silver skin glowing with faint blue lines that moved like flowing energy. You are awake, she said in his mind, her voice gentle. Ryan nodded. Yeah, still trying to believe that wasn't all a dream. It was not a dream, she said, kneeling beside him. The bond between us is real. You touched the heart of a Cerathian, something no outsider has ever done. Ryan studied her. I'm still alive, so I guess that's good news. But what exactly did that bond do? Virella looked thoughtful. It connected our minds, in part. I can sense your emotions, faintly, and I believe you can sense mine as well. Ryan frowned. You mean you can read my thoughts? She shook her head. Not thoughts, only feelings. Your mind is loud but guarded. Loud? He asked, raising an eyebrow. She smiled slightly. Humans feel so much. Hope, fear, humor. It is like standing near a sun that never stops burning. Ryan chuckled softly. Yeah, that sounds about right. As they spoke, Ryan's scanner beeped weakly. He picked it up and saw strange readings. "I'm picking up huge energy waves coming from beneath us," he said. "Like something is pulsing deep underground." Virella's expression darkened. "That is the life pulse of SciFi-Prime. Our planet breathes energy through its crystal veins. It is what gives us power, and what the null tide wishes to consume." Ryan looked at her seriously. "You said last night that your world is in danger. Who are they, these null tide?" Virella's golden eyes flickered. "They are not a race as you know it. They are the absence of life, machines and creatures born from void energy. They consume everything, light, thought, matter, until nothing remains. My people have fought them for centuries, but they grow stronger with each world they devour." She paused, looking out at the sky. 3 moons once circled SciFi-Prime. Now only 2 remain. Ryan felt a chill run through him. "So you think humanity can help you fight them?" Virella turned her gaze back to him. "I believe you are different. When you touched me, your life energy didn't fade, it merged. It balanced mine. Humans might hold a resistance to the void that even the Sarathians lack." Ryan crossed his arms. "You're saying my biology might be the key to saving your planet?" "Yes," she said quietly. "And perhaps more." Ryan stood and brushed the dust from his uniform. "Then we better figure out what this bond of ours can do. Maybe there's a way to boost your defense systems with human tech." Virella tilted her head slightly, curiosity gleaming in her eyes. "You speak with confidence, human. Do all of your kind face danger this way?" "Pretty much," Ryan said with a half smile. "When things break, we fix them. When the odds look bad, we still try. It's kind of what we do best." Her eyes softened. "That might be why fate brought you here." Together, they began walking through the forest toward the distant glow of a crystalline city that shimmered on the horizon. The trees whispered softly as they passed, reflecting the sunlight in countless colors. Small floating creatures glowing like fireflies followed their path. Ryan couldn't help but marvel. "This place is beautiful. Feels alive." "It is alive," Virella said. "Every stone, every tree, every drop of light carries the world's energy. SciFi-Prime is more than a home. It is a living being. That is why we must protect it." As they walked, Ryan noticed the faint hum in the air grow stronger. His scanner flickered again. "Those energy readings are off the charts. Are we getting close to the source?" "Yes," Virella said. "The crystal core, the heart of my world. My people built our capital above it." When they reached the edge of the forest, Ryan stopped in awe. Before them stretched SciFi-Prime's capital city, Luminaris. Towering spires of crystal rose into the sky like frozen lightning, glowing softly from within. Bridges of light connected the towers, and flying crafts of silver glass moved silently above the streets. "It's incredible," Ryan whispered. Virella smiled proudly. "Welcome to my home, Commander Holt." As they entered the city, people stopped to stare. The Sarathians were tall and graceful, their bodies shimmering in different shades of silver and blue. They whispered among themselves as they saw Virella walking beside a human. Some bowed deeply, others stepped back in fear or surprise. Ryan could feel their emotions through the bond: curiosity, disbelief, and something like suspicion. Virella noticed his discomfort. "Do not fear them. My people respect strength, and soon they will understand yours." "Let's hope so," Ryan murmured. They arrived at a large hall built of glowing stone. Inside, Sarathian guards bowed as Virella entered. At the center of the chamber, a floating sphere pulsed with light, the heart crystal, source of the planet's power. An elder Sarathian, taller and older than the rest, stepped forward. His eyes were a deep blue, glowing faintly. "Princess Virella," he said telepathically, "you have returned. But what is this creature that walks beside you?" "This is Commander Ryan Holt," she said firmly. "He is a human, a traveler from another star. He survived the Sarathian bond." The hall went silent. The elder's expression shifted from disbelief to concern. "Impossible. No outsider can endure the bond's energy." "And yet he did," Virella replied. "He may be the key to saving us," the elder frowned. "Or the key to our destruction." Ryan felt the tension in the room but stood tall. "I didn't come here to harm anyone," he said. "If my being here can help you fight this null tide, then I'll do whatever I can." The elder studied him carefully, then turned to Virella. "If the human speaks truth, then the bond must be tested. Bring him to the heart crystal." Ryan followed Virella to the great crystal at the center of the hall. Its light pulsed in rhythm with the planet itself. "What do I do?" he asked. Place your hand on the crystal, she said softly. Let it read your energy. He hesitated but trusted her. Slowly, he pressed his glowing hand against the crystal's surface. Instantly, a wave of light shot through the hall. The ground trembled. Symbols appeared across the floor, human and Sarathian patterns intertwining. The heart crystal's glow turned from blue to a bright silver white. Everyone gasped. The elder took a step back. It recognizes him. Virella looked amazed. The heart accepts his presence. The bond is true. Ryan stepped back, shaking his hand. What just happened? The crystal tested your life force, Virella explained. It linked you to the world itself. Now SciFi-Prime knows your name. Ryan blinked. That sounds big. It is, she said with a small smile. You are no longer just a visitor, Ryan Holt. You are part of our destiny now. But before Ryan could reply, a deep sound echoed across the city. A low, distant hum that vibrated through the walls. The guards looked up as the lights flickered. The elder's voice trembled. No, they have found us. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Who? Virella's expression turned grim. The null tide. They're here. Outside, the twin suns dimmed as a massive shadow passed across the sky. A fleet of dark, organic-looking ships emerged from the clouds, huge, insect-like vessels that blotted out the light. Ryan clenched his fists. Guess the quiet part of the trip is over. Virella turned toward him, her golden eyes shining with fierce determination. Then we fight together, human, says one. Ryan nodded. Let's show them what humanity can do. And as the first wave of dark ships descended upon Luminaris, the bond between man and alien glowed brighter than ever before, the spark of two worlds standing against the coming storm. The sky above Luminaris turned dark. The twin suns faded behind thick clouds as enormous black shapes moved across the horizon. From the tallest tower, Commander Ryan Holt and Princess Virella stood side by side, watching the shadow fleet descend. The null tide had come, and their arrival felt like the end of the world. They're larger than anything I've ever seen, Ryan muttered, eyes fixed on the approaching ships, like floating mountains. They are living ships, Virella said, her voice calm but filled with tension. Grown from the void itself. Their armor absorbs energy. Their weapons drain light. They feed on everything. Ryan clenched his jaw. So how do we stop something that eats light? Virella glanced at him. With something that cannot be eaten, hope, courage, and your human fire. Ryan gave a small smile. I hope that fire burns hot enough. Below them, the city prepared for battle. Sarathian warriors in shining armor lined the streets, holding staffs that glowed with power. Flying crafts rose into the air, forming a silver barrier around the capital. The great heart crystal pulsed brighter, sending waves of energy across Luminaris. Ryan looked at his wrist scanner, still damaged, but working enough to show readings. Those things are releasing some kind of radiation, he said. If they get too close, they'll drain your shields. Virella nodded. Then we must strike first. She raised her hand, and through the psychic bond, Ryan could feel her determination. All units prepare for defense, she said through telepathic channels. Her voice echoed across the city. For SciFi-Prime, for our people, and for our new ally, the human who stands with us. Ryan felt every Sarathian's gaze turned toward him. For a moment, he felt the weight of their trust and their fear. He took a deep breath and said quietly, Guess I'm officially part of the team now. Virella smiled faintly. You are more than that. You are part of the bond that may save us all. The first null-tide ship descended with a deep rumbling sound. Black tendrils extended from its hull, piercing the atmosphere. Lightning-like energy danced between them, and then, boom! A beam of dark energy struck the Sarathian shields. The air cracked. Buildings trembled. For a moment, the shield flickered, then steadied. Ryan stumbled but stayed on his feet. Shields holding, but not for long. Virella raised her staff, focusing her power into the barrier. The heart crystal is feeding energy to the shield, but it cannot last forever. Ryan quickly scanned the enemy ship. They're not just attacking. They're absorbing the shield's energy. Like parasites, Virella frowned. Can you stop them? Ryan looked at the wreckage of his crashed ship below the city. Maybe. If I can get to my ship, I can pull out the fusion core and use it to overload their energy field. It's risky, but it might work. Virella didn't hesitate. Then I will go with you. He looked at her. You're a princess. Shouldn't you stay here and lead your people? She met his eyes, firm and fearless. A true leader stands with her people, and you will need me to survive, Ryan sighed. Fair point. Let's move. They hurried through the glowing streets as the sky rumbled with explosions. Sarathian defenders fought bravely, launching waves of energy from the rooftops. Ryan saw one of their ships fall in flames, crashing near the palace. The air shimmered with the scent of ozone and burning crystal. As they reached the forest edge, a group of null drones descended. Insect-like creatures with wings made of black smoke. Their eyes glowed red and their bodies pulsed with void energy. Down, Ryan shouted. He fired his plasma pistol, hitting the first drone square in the chest. It exploded in a burst of blue fire. Varela lifted her hand, summoning a wave of light that sliced through the remaining drones like a blade. They vanished into dust. Ryan looked at her in awe. Remind me not to make you angry, Varela smiled faintly. Then do not give me reason to be. They reached the crash site. The Starlings lay in ruins, half buried under glowing soil. Ryan climbed inside the cockpit, coughing through the smoke. Still intact, he muttered, checking the fusion core. But it's unstable. How unstable? Varela asked. Like shaking hands with a thunderstorm, he said. Once I pull this out, we'll have maybe 5 minutes before it goes critical. Varela stepped closer, her golden eyes glowing softly. Then we must be swift. Ryan pulled the fusion core from its chamber. The cylinder pulsed with bright blue light, humming with dangerous energy. All right, now we find a way to deliver it to that monster up there. Varela touched her staff to the ground, creating a shimmering platform of light. Step on, Ryan blinked. You're kidding. This thing can fly? Her lips curved into a confident smile. You doubt too much, human. Ryan stepped onto the glowing platform, gripping the fusion core tightly. A second later, the light lifted them into the air like a silent elevator. They rose above the forest, the city, and into the burning skies where the null tide ships loomed. As they ascended, Ryan felt the heat from explosions nearby. Sarathian ships darted between enemy vessels, firing beams of light that carved through the void armor. For every enemy destroyed, 2 more appeared. This is madness, Ryan said. You can't win like this. We must, Varela said firmly. SCIFI-Prime cannot fall. They reached the edge of the enemy's energy field. The air shimmered like dark water. Ryan looked at the swirling mass of black light. Once I throw this in, we need to move fast. Understood, she said. Ryan took a deep breath and hurled the glowing fusion core into the dark barrier. The core sank in, pulsing faster. For a moment, nothing happened. Then boom! A wave of blue fire erupted from the enemy ship. The dark energy shattered like glass and the massive vessel broke apart. The explosion lit the entire sky, brighter than the twin suns. Ryan and Varela were thrown backward, spinning through the air. She caught his hand mid-fall, summoning a shield of light that slowed their descent. They landed hard on a rooftop as burning fragments rained down across the city. Ryan coughed and looked up at the fiery sky. Please tell me that worked. Varela smiled through exhaustion. It did, 1 ship destroyed. He frowned. Only 1? She nodded. The others still remain. Ryan groaned. Of course they do. They were about to stand when a voice echoed in their minds. The elder Sarathian from the palace. Princess Varela, the heart crystal is weakening. We cannot hold the shields much longer. Varela closed her eyes. Understood. Evacuate the lower districts and prepare for final defense. Ryan grabbed her shoulder. No, we're not giving up yet. I have another idea. Her eyes met his. Another human idea? He smiled. Yeah, a crazy one. He pointed toward the Sarathian command tower. If we link the heart crystal's energy with the ship's reactor remnants, we could create a pulse. One strong enough to disable the entire null fleet for a few minutes. Varela frowned. That could destroy the heart itself. Ryan shook his head. Not if we balance it using our bond. You and me. Sarathian energy and human resilience together. That's our best shot. For a moment she hesitated, then she nodded. Then let us try. For our people. They rushed back to the palace. The ground shook beneath them as the remaining null ships bombarded the shields. The streets glowed with cracks of energy. Inside the Great Hall, the heart crystal flickered weakly. Ryan placed his hand on its surface again. The silver light returned, flowing through both him and Varela. Ready? He asked. Yes, she said. Let our worlds become one flame. They focused together. The heart began to pulse faster, its light turning brilliant white. Across the city, the power grid surged. Towers lit up, Weapons charged and shields glowed brighter than ever before. Outside, the sky exploded with light. A massive wave of energy burst outward from Luminaris, spreading across the atmosphere. It struck the null-tide fleet like a storm of lightning. The dark ships convulsed, their forms twisting and breaking apart. One by one they fell from the sky, crashing into the distant plains. The people of SciFi-Prime cheered. For the first time in generations they had forced the null-tide to retreat. Ryan collapsed to his knees, exhausted. The heart's light dimmed but remained stable. Virella knelt beside him, breathing heavily. "You did it," she whispered. "You saved us." Ryan smiled weakly. "We saved us." For a long moment they sat together in silence, watching the sun rise through the cracked dome above. The light washed over the city, gentle and golden. Virella turned to him, her voice soft. "Perhaps the universe sent you here for a reason, human. Perhaps this is only the beginning." Ryan looked at her, tired but smiling. "If it is, then I'm ready for whatever comes next." Far above them, beyond the fading clouds, the shattered remains of the null-tide ships drifted in silence. But in the shadows of deep space, a darker shape stirred, something even greater, watching and waiting. The war was far from over. The sky above SciFi-Prime burned red with the glow of battle. Smoke spiraled from the city's outer districts as null-tide ships returned, larger and faster than before. Their dark forms swarmed the skies like a living storm, blotting out the twin suns. Commander Ryan Holt stood beside Princess Virella on the highest observation tower of the palace. They had barely slept since the first attack. Every hour, the null-tide's fleet grew more daring. Yet Luminaris had survived thanks to their combined effort. Virella turned to him, her golden eyes sharp and determined. "They will not stop until the city falls. We must prepare the people and strike before they reach the Heart Crystal again." Ryan nodded. "We need a plan that doesn't just defend and it defeats them." "I've been thinking. We can't just react. We have to be the storm." Virella raised an eyebrow. "The storm, human?" "Yeah," Ryan said with a small grin. "Sarathian energy, human tactics, and a few surprises. If we hit them in one place hard, we can break their formation." She smiled faintly. "I like the sound of that. Then we must strike together." The palace's war room buzzed with activity. Sarathian engineers worked on energy cannons while scouts relayed the enemy's positions. Ryan moved among them, offering advice on targeting, trajectory, and timing. Small tweaks that made a surprising difference. His human ingenuity impressed the Sarathians. Commander Holt, an elder engineer, said, "Your calculations are unorthodox, but they may work." Ryan shrugged. "Sometimes unorthodox is the only way to survive." Virella approached, standing tall beside him. "Your ideas will be tested today." "Are you ready?" Ryan tightened his gloves. "Born ready, Princess." Outside, the null-tide advanced. Hundreds of dark ships swarmed toward Luminaris, their energy-siphoning devices pulsing. Ryan watched them closely. "They're trying to collapse the outer shields first. Once those fall, the Heart Crystal is vulnerable." Virella nodded. "Then we strike at the heart of their fleet while they are distracted." Ryan adjusted his scanner. "We'll need to move fast. Their ships are coordinated. One mistake and we lose everything." Virella's eyes softened as she placed her hand lightly on his shoulder. Through their psychic bond, Ryan felt her confidence, steady and unshakable. "I trust you, Ryan. Together we can do this." Ryan gave a small smile. "Then let's make sure your trust isn't wasted." The plan was set. Sarathian cruisers and human strike crafts, small but agile, formed two wings. Ryan would lead a small team directly toward the null-tide's command ship. Virella would coordinate the city's defenses and strike from above with concentrated energy blasts. As they prepared for launch, Ryan took a deep breath. "If this works, we stop them. If it fails..." Virella shook her head. "It will not fail. Humanity is stubborn." "You are stubborn. That is why we survive." Ryan smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "All right. Time to make some sparks." The first wave of attack was chaotic. The null-tide's outer ships surged forward, striking the city's shields. Energy beams clashed, creating bursts of light that illuminated the skies. Ryan's small squad weaved through the battlefield, dodging beams and debris. "Hold formation," Ryan shouted. "Stay close, target the tendrils on the larger ships first." The Sarathian pilots followed his lead, using his unconventional tactics to outmaneuver the enemy. The combination of human flexibility and Sarathian precision began to turn the tide. Varela raised her staff and sent a concentrated blast of energy sweeping across the null tide ranks. Several ships exploded, their dark matter dissolving into nothingness. "Good," Ryan called through the psychic link. "Keep pushing." Ryan's squad approached the null tide flagship, a massive vessel that pulsed with void energy, black and twisting like a living shadow. Its defenses were immense, but Ryan's strategy relied on speed, precision, and daring. "Ready the fusion disruptors," he shouted. His team activated small human-engineered devices that emitted destabilizing energy waves. Varela's voice echoed in his mind. "I will weaken its shields from above, now." The flagship's dark hull shimmered as Varela poured her energy into a concentrated beam, striking its center. Sparks of blue light erupted against the black surface, cracking armor plates. Ryan's squad launched the disruptors. The flagship convulsed violently. Beams of void energy flickered and misfired. The null tide seemed confused, their usual coordination faltering. "Now!" Ryan shouted. They fired all remaining energy weapons, hitting the ship in critical points. The flagship shuddered, then exploded in a blinding flash. Pieces of black matter rained down into space. The remaining null tide ships recoiled, retreating slightly. Ryan exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. One down, but more are coming. Varela landed beside him, her golden eyes glowing fiercely. "They will regroup, but we have shown them that Cerathians and humans are united." The battle raged on for hours. Ryan and Varela coordinated strikes, combining human ingenuity with Cerathian power. The city's defenses held stronger than anyone expected. During a lull, Ryan looked out at the horizon. "I never thought I'd see the day humans and Cerathians fighting side by side." Varela's eyes softened. "And yet here we are. Your people have courage. Your creativity. It saved lives today," Ryan shrugged. "Guess we're useful sometimes," she smiled. "Not sometimes. Every time that courage burns, we survive. Humanity is more than just a species, and it is a spark. And today that spark saved my people." Ryan felt a surge of pride. "Thanks, Princess. Means a lot coming from you." But the null tide would not give up. From the depths of space, a new wave of ships emerged, larger than anything they had seen before. The shadow of a massive command vessel blocked the skies, its surface alive with writhing black tendrils. Varela's expression hardened. "This is the Null Queen herself. All remaining ships follow her. If she lands, the heart crystal is lost." Ryan gritted his teeth. "Then we need to make this count. One chance. Everything we've fought for depends on it." She nodded. "And we fight as one. Your bond with me, Ryan, can focus the heart crystal's energy. Together we can strike her down." Ryan felt the psychic pulse of their combined power. It was overwhelming, but he focused. "All right, let's end this." The two of them climbed to the top of the tallest palace tower. Below, the Cerathian defenders rallied, readying one final defense. Ryan and Varela placed their hands on the heart crystal simultaneously. The energy surged, glowing brighter than ever before. Through the bond, Ryan felt Varela's thoughts, her determination, her hope, her trust. He matched it with his own courage, determination, and human stubbornness. Light exploded from the heart crystal, shooting toward the Null Queen's flagship. The black ship trembled. Its tendrils writhed. The energy wave hit, and for the first time the Null Queen faltered. Her fleet scattered, retreating into the void. Ryan and Varela collapsed, breathing heavily. Around them, the city cheered. The shields held. The heart crystal pulsed steadily once more. Luminaris had survived another day. Varela looked at him, exhausted but smiling. "You have done what no other being could do, Ryan Holt. Today humanity became part of SciFi-Prime." Ryan chuckled weakly. "Yeah, guess that makes me officially stubborn enough to be a hero." She laughed softly. "Not just stubborn, brave, clever, and alive in the face of darkness. That is why you are part of the bond." Ryan glanced at the horizon. The sky was clearing, but he knew the null tide would return. Far in the shadows of space, dark tendrils pulsed with energy, waiting for the next attack. Varela placed a hand on his shoulder. "We survived today. Together, we will prepare for tomorrow. The war is not over, but we are not defeated." Ryan nodded. "And as long as we're together, they'll never break us." The twin suns rose above Luminaris once more, casting golden light across the city. Cerathians and humans stood side by side, their bond stronger than any darkness. For Ryan Holt, this was only the beginning. But he knew one thing for certain. Humanity's courage had earned its place among the stars. The sky above Luminaris burned with urgency. After their first victories, the null tide had retreated into deep space. But now their queen had returned, larger and more terrifying than before. The massive flagship loomed above the city, black tendrils writhing, devouring light. This was the final wave, and its arrival sent a shiver through every Sarathian and human standing, ready to defend their world. Commander Ryan Holt stood beside Princess Virella on the observation tower of the palace. The bond between them still pulsed with energy, stronger than ever after the last battle. Ryan could feel her thoughts, her determination, and her unshakable resolve. "It's here," he said quietly, "the Null Queen herself." Virella nodded, her golden eyes glowing with fierce light. "Then this ends today. Luminaris will not fall and we will not fail." Ryan glanced around. Sarathian warriors were lined up in the streets, their glowing staffs ready. Human engineers and strike teams worked frantically, reinforcing energy grids and preparing defensive drones. The city was alive with determination, a united force of two species against a common enemy. The Null Queen's flagship descended slowly, a living shadow blocking the twin suns. Ryan's scanner beeped rapidly. "It's huge, and it's feeding on our shields already. If we don't act fast, the heart crystal won't survive the first strike." Virella placed her hand on his shoulder. "We have no choice. Together we will channel the heart crystal's full energy and strike at the Null Queen. Our bond makes it possible." Ryan took a deep breath, gripping the fusion core they had recovered from his ship. "I hope this works. If it doesn't, well, we'll go down fighting." Virella's voice was firm but gentle in his mind. "It will work. Trust in our bond." They climbed to the top of the palace tower. The wind whipped around them as energy surged from the heart crystal below, illuminating their faces with brilliant silver light. Ryan felt the pulse of the planet itself beneath him, and Virella's energy intertwined with his, flowing like two rivers merging into a mighty current. "Ready?" she asked. Ryan nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." Together they placed their hands on the heart crystal. It glowed brighter than it ever had, sending waves of energy across the city. Ryan could feel the heat and power coursing through him. Through the bond, he could feel Virella's courage, her fear and her hope all focused into a single, unstoppable determination. Below, Sarathian defenders and human pilots engaged the null tide in a desperate battle. Energy beams clashed, ships exploded, and fragments of void matter rained down like dark meteors. But the heart crystal's energy surged outward, strengthening shields and giving the defenders new strength. Virella raised her staff high. "Now, Ryan, focus!" Ryan closed his eyes, letting his human instincts guide him. He channeled courage, resilience, and ingenuity into the heart crystal. Light exploded from it in waves, blasting toward the massive Null Queen flagship. Its tendrils writhed violently, black energy cracking under the onslaught. The flagship convulsed. Ryan could feel the pulse of life struggling against the darkness. Through the bond, Virella's thoughts were clear. "We can do this. We must," Ryan shouted through the psychic link. "Then let's finish it." The heart crystal's energy hit the Null Queen directly. The ship shook violently, black tendrils twisting in agony. Explosions rippled across its surface as energy spread through its core, destabilizing the void that held it together. "Keep pushing," Virella shouted, her voice echoing in his mind and in the air. Ryan focused every ounce of his strength, human and Sarathian energy flowing together. The flagship's massive form began to crack, fragments of dark matter breaking apart. Its fleet around it faltered, scattering in confusion. The Null Queen let out a low, resonant hum, a sound that vibrated through the city and Ryan's chest. But the bond between human and princess held firm. Together they channeled the heart crystal's final burst of energy. Boom! A wave of pure light engulfed the flagship, disintegrating its tendrils and core. Pieces of dark matter exploded into the void, scattering across space. The remaining null tide ships fled, retreating into the far reaches of the galaxy. Luminaris was safe. Ryan collapsed to his knees, exhausted, his body trembling from the energy surge. Virella knelt beside him, her golden eyes shining with pride and relief. "You did it," she whispered. "You saved us, Ryan Holt. Together we stopped them." Ryan gave a tired laugh. "We did it, but wow, that was intense." Around them, the city erupted in celebration. Sarathians cheered, their voices like a chorus of bells, while human engineers and pilots waved and laughed, exhausted but alive. The alliance between the two species had proven stronger than the darkness that had threatened to consume them. Virella placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. Through the bond, Ryan could feel her gratitude and trust. "You were brave. More than any human I have ever known." Ryan shrugged, smiling despite his exhaustion. "I just did what humans do. Stand up, fight, and never give up," she laughed softly. "And that is why your species is remarkable. You are more than just visitors in the stars. You are the spark that can ignite hope across worlds." As the celebrations continued, Virella led Ryan to the palace balcony overlooking the city. Twin suns shone through clearing clouds, casting golden light across the towers and streets. The heart crystal pulsed steadily, a beacon of life and resilience. Ryan looked at the horizon. "We actually did it. The null tide, gone." Virella smiled. "Gone for now. But the galaxy is vast and darkness may rise again. We must always be ready," Ryan nodded. "Then we prepare, together." She turned toward him, her expression gentle and teasing. "You hesitated to touch me once, human. Would you hesitate now?" Ryan chuckled, feeling a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the battle. "Not a chance, Your Majesty." Virella's smile deepened and she reached out her hand. Ryan took it, the bond between them stronger than ever. Not just as warrior and princess, but as two beings united in courage, determination, and hope. In the days that followed, the Human-Serath Alliance was officially declared. Humanity was welcomed as allies and protectors of Luminaris. Ryan was honored as the first touched, the bridge between Earth and Serath Prime. Together, humans and Sarathians rebuilt what the null tide had damaged, strengthening defenses and preparing for future threats. Ryan worked alongside Virella, teaching human strategies and technology to Sarathian engineers. While learning the secrets of their energy systems, he marveled at how the two species complemented each other. Human creativity and courage, Sarathian precision and power, forming a partnership that could face anything. One evening, as the twin suns set across the shimmering city, Ryan and Virella stood atop the palace balcony once more. "You have changed this world," Virella said softly, "not just through battle, but through courage, trust, and the bond we share." Ryan smiled. "And you changed mine. I never imagined humans could stand shoulder to shoulder with an alien princess, let alone save her world." Virella laughed lightly, her eyes golden in the sunset. "Then perhaps our bond is the beginning of something greater, not just for Serath Prime, but for the stars themselves." Ryan looked out at the horizon, feeling hope fill his heart. Humanity had survived, fought, and proved its place among the stars. And he knew one truth above all. No darkness, no enemy, and no force in the galaxy could break the courage, ingenuity, and spirit of humanity, especially when united with allies who believed in the same cause. He turned to Virella, the princess who had challenged him, trusted him, and fought beside him. "Ready for whatever comes next?" he asked. She took his hand firmly. "Always, Ryan Holt. Always." The twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the city. Together, human and Sarathian, they faced the stars, not as strangers but as partners, friends, and defenders of life itself. The galaxy had been changed, not by alien power alone nor human might alone, but by the unity of two worlds bound together by courage, trust, and the spark of hope that only humanity could ignite. And as night fell over Serath Prime, one thing was certain: the future was bright, and humans, at last, had found their place among the stars.